Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone in cyberspace. Welcome to the album launch party for Richard Adoradio and all things music. Welcome to the show tonight. My name is Alesandra Valenzuela. I'm your host, together with Marianne Adoradio. We are talking tonight all things music, production, graphic design, all things that made most of time possible. So thank you everyone for gathering, and thank you everyone for forming tonight and for being here with us. We're going to talk to Richard, who is the pretty much the founder of this album and the songwriter. We're talking to Kenny and Sabiné. We're talking to Kenny Schick and Sabiné Heusler-Schick of B3 Productions, and they played a pretty big role in getting this album pushed through the hole. So we're going to talk to them a little bit later. And Marianne is also the co-host. So Marianne, your turn to say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be here. We're so excited. The link that we're going to be posting we'll be posting many links, but there's going to be a link posted now. And at that link, it takes you to Richard's Bandcamp site. There you can purchase the album digitally at any time. Right now you could purchase it. And also you have the opportunity to pre-order the vinyl record, well, I guess vinyl or record, which is coming out in early 2022, but you order now. So also at that same link for Bandcamp, you can listen to all the songs on the album for free. And also, for those of you who like to just go to your favorite streaming sites, Pandora, Amazon, Spotify, I'm an Apple Music person, you can go there and listen to all Richard's songs for free. So just remember that the Bandcamp site is also where you pre-order the album, listen to songs for free, or order the album digitally. So we're going to be talking as Alesandra said. And during the time of discussing the album and how it all came together, you'll be getting some quick listens to each of the songs as you find out how they came together. I just want to start by saying that as Richard's older sister, he's where he is today because of me. No,
100%.
My experience is that I loved music, I sang, but I always admired Richard because I tried to play the piano while I was babysitting, and it would take me weeks to figure out a song by ear. Richard just sat down and played. He was a natural, and I so admire him. And then going to the Blue Rock Shoot and seeing him and all Alesandra and everybody performing there. Everybody's gone on to do such amazing things. So it's just great to be a part of this, as now Alesandra can talk to him. I'm his older sister and Alessandra's his music sister.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I just wanted to start off by kind of sharing a few things about my friendship with Richard and what I've observed of Richard over the years. And one thing that is for certain is that if you are friends with Richard, or now even receiving his music, it's impossible not to check your soul. It's impossible. You know, he forces you as a human being to always be looking in and always be looking out and always be following the road of love and of most highest quality outcome. And so I appreciate that. And so listening to Richard, your music this week, and anybody else, if you have had a chance to listen to it so far, it really does that. It checks your soul and it makes you happy, and years of that. And meeting you at Blue Rock Shoot, that whole era, I just have to say, it woke up so many musicians and it brought so many people together. And Kenny, there's no memory that I don't have that doesn't make my heart just happy and jump with joy with you that's in it. So, and Sabiné, it was just so nice to get to know you through stories through the internet. And now it's a pleasure to have you here and actually talk to you one-on-one. So before we get any more further on a bunny trail, Richard, let's talk about why it took you so long to go from all these days of playing your original songs for everybody, and we all loved them. Why did it take you 18 years to get an album finished?
Well, I guess the easy answer is I never wanted my own album. That was never my goal. I always, I gravitated towards groups like the Eagles and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and heavy harmony groups, or even AC/DC. Kenny and I will talk about that later. But basically, I never saw myself as anything except part of a group. And this album wasn't plan A or plan B. It was really plan C for COVID. It's like, it was like the last couple years got me thinking, and about a year ago is when, it was like, okay, not going to wait any longer. I've got to do something with my music.
Well, tell us a little bit about the background, about you growing up, and tell us a little bit about you.
It's kind of like how you do it. Anything is how you do everything. That kind of applies with me.
Yes.
I'm a hack, kind of I can do a lot of different things. Okay. and I was a hack at the piano. I was a hack at the drums before I ever touched a guitar.
What do you mean a hack? You mean like you hacked through it, or you mean hack like you sucked at it?
Like I wasn't serious enough to really like commit to it and learn what I needed to learn if I wanted to become proficient at something. Like Kenny's a good example of that, and he's done that with lots of instruments, and I know other musicians the same way. But that wasn't me. All I wanted to do was make some music and entertain. That's really what I wanted to do. That's more my interest. Is not so much the being proficient at an instrument and being like seen as this artist, So anyway.
And I'm just going to add, going back to what you said, Alesandra, about Richard and his soul and going deep. And I just remember you traveling and getting to know the world as you got to know yourself was so important. And I know that you'll be talking about how that influenced songs later on too.
Yeah. Well, let me just mention that. So all these songs were written between the year 2003 and about 2009 or so. So a 6-year period. It was a very creative part of my life. It's when the blue rock started before the blue rock. It's what kind of inspired me. I took my guitar. I dropped out of college. The only thing I was interested in was music then, but I had no confidence and not a very good voice. And so I dropped out and I decided to travel, and I was gone in Europe for 6 months traveling with my Ovation guitar back then, and I was 19, married, had 2 kids. Fast forward to 16 years later in a divorce, I found myself going back to Europe to rediscover what I really wanted to do in life. And I kind of transitioned out of the building trades. I had become a wallpaper hanger and a painter, and then I got into the door and window industry, and that was kind of my bread and butter. But in the summer of 2003, I was gone for 101 days, and it was really where I decided to pursue music, to change my direction. Marianne helped me find my direction. She was a big part of that. She did a lot of testing on me. She's a career counselor, and it was like, you should be following music. Music is your thing. But so that's kind of how this album, the writing of it, happened, and it's been sitting collecting dust for about 12 years now.
And Richard, as it uncollected the dust and started to come together, how did you come up with the title for it most of time?
Well, let me share something with you here. So hold on a second, and I'll. It's basically it's really hard to come up with the name of an album. It's almost as hard as naming a band. I think that might be a little bit harder, but I went through the lyrics of the album, and there was one particular part of this first song, Don't Wait, which you heard the intro was the beginning of that song, which I love. Kenny did a great job on that. So here's where the line came from in terms of most of time. So I'll play that for you now. Young courage, old patience, all the best things make the most of time. So new dreams will find. No, don't wait.
Yes, your music just leaves me wanting more. I've been listening to this on repeat in the car. My kids are starting to sing it in the back seat, and Nanara's already singing harmonies. You know,
I love it.
so that's just wonderful. So speaking of most of time, how have you made the most of your time since since
Well, it's ironic. I wrote that song in 2003. There's a picture of me sitting on the top of a stairwell. That's at International Students' House in London by Regent's Park. And it's where I stayed at the beginning of that trip in 2003. And at the very end, I had just come back from a couple weeks in Croatia where I really started to dig in as a songwriter. And so when I wrote Don't Wait, I thought I could really speak from experience because I was even younger, but still old. But anyway, so now the words even take on more meaning. So.
Well, that's really wonderful. So I heard all those harmonies in the background, and Kenny, that was you, right? That was you in the background singing, you and Sabiné?
Yeah, on that one, I think Sabiné might have been in there too. It's hard for me to tell anymore. Sometimes our voices start to sound the same. I guess, that's what happens after you live together for a long time.
Well, it's beautiful anyway. So, now that we're talking to you, Kenny, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and then how you got involved in the album?
Okay. Well, a little bit about myself is I was one of those lucky people who knew what they wanted to do when they were 12 years old. And my dad brought home an electric guitar from a poker game. And so that's all me. And so that was once I started playing music there, I even started to love, saxophone, which I played in band already. So I just started to love all music. And I never could decide which instrument was my favorite, nor could I decide what kind of music was my favorite. So that led me to play in all kinds of bands, from jazz to classical to punk bands to grungy bands to reggae bands to world music stuff to experimental freakishness.
Wow.
And I was in this one band called Dot 3. That was sort of the high point that just changed my mind about music and taught me to figure out how to find an original voice in music, to really dig deep and find not just copy, but try to find something that is uniquely you. And that band was unique, and it opened my mind to all kinds of music. And then, eventually I decided I was sick of bands after playing in 30 something of them. And I went solo. And that's when I met all you guys, because I was trying to figure out, well, if you don't have a band, how do you do this? So I got myself a decent acoustic guitar, and I showed up at the Blue Rock Shoot one day to go, test my songs, basically, see if I was coming along nicely or not. And I met all you guys, and that really changed my life, of course. And it also is what gave me the inspiration later, after several years, to do this business, Basement 3 Productions. because I started to notice songwriters didn't have bands and I could be their band and help them make these records. And so I've been doing that for the last 14 years now. So there you go. That's a bit about me.
That's really fantastic. Just a quick question. Are we going to get more pictures of your studio, or the pictures of what you had Richard do? Did we get some of those pictures that we can share later?
Yeah, you'll see those. So Kenny did a great job.
Okay, so we'll see those a little bit. So the only thing that when I got asked to be the host, I'm trying to think of little phrases I could summarize with people, and the only quote that I could come up with Kenny was quirky, comedic, uber talented, and fantastic hair.
Wow, I like all those.
Jerk. It's not fair.
I've been too, so.
Yeah. So I even remember at Blue Rock Shoot, Kenny would just walk by, and I could never help it. I just always had to like reach out and just stroke all the curls, that were just flowing by. I don't even know he knew that I was doing that. I would always just be like a cat that went by. I was like, pet his hair all the time. So, but I was a hairdresser, so I thought that gave me license.
Hair, yeah.
So in talking about this album and how it got produced, Kenny, tell us how much of this album is Kenny. How did you put all your flavors into it? How much is you? How much is Richard? Tell us about all that.
Well,
Sabiné.
I will start by saying, obviously, there would be none of the album if Richard did not write the songs. So that's a big thing. And he sent me his demos. And how I work is I listen to the demo and try to decide things like what instruments will be good in there, what should it sound like, what does it sound like. That's sort of my specialty. So Richard gives me these songs, and obviously some of them I've heard for years. Some of them I didn't remember, so they seemed fresh to me. But nonetheless, I treat them all the same. I will listen to what his demo is and then try to imagine what it could be, or, where I'd like to push it within reason, of course. So I would import the demo into my Pro Tools session, and then I would just start building around it, basically. And as soon as I built enough that I didn't need it anymore, I'd turn it off. And at that point, you're starting to feel what the song is. And at that point also, I could send it back to Richard and say, okay, pop your acoustic guitar parts and your vocals over this. Then once I have that in, we'll see what the finishing touches are, the icing on the cake, as it were. So, I did play a lot of the instruments just because I can, and I get excited and throw them all in there. And I think Richard wanted me to do that, hopefully.
So let me just say a little bit about that. So when Kenny and I first talked about the project, because I called him, I used to play for years with Michael Lyle and Ryder Webb, and we had a trio, and our voices blended really well, and we did a lot of different songs. And Michael called me one day and said, hey, we've got to do a recording of our music, and a lot of it was cover songs, but there was some original, some of these. But anyway, I just, the idea took with me, and so I called Kenny, and I was originally going to bring him to Hawaii, to him and Sabiné. We were going to do like a recording, kind of a, commando recording thing here for a couple weeks or a week and a half naked? Or whatever. Well, not commando like that, but you bring your equipment and you're in the jungle, like that.
I won't like further.
Of course, your mind went there. Yeah, MacGyver. Okay, thank you. Not commando, MacGyver. Okay. Well, anyway, so Kenny and I, one of the first conversations, once I decided to do an all original, original music project and just have Kenny do full production, we talked about it, and Kenny's like, well, just imagine if you put your ideal band together, what would that be like? So we start talking about music, and I'm like, well, I'm pretty like into pop. I'm like pop, but then I'm kind of into funk and groove, and I like to dance, but then I also, like in high school, I was really into AC/DC, and Kenny's like, yeah, I saw him live at, Day on the Green, Monsters of Rock, I'm like, I was there. We talked about this concert, and it was really an important concert for us because there were these big names of those rock bands back then, and AC/DC was incredible. It was the energy. So anyway, there was something I think that we carried away from that conversation, and I just all along I trust Kenny. I love Kenny as a human being. I love him as a musician. He is so adaptable to any situation. I've worked with him in corporate situations. We've played in front of many different gigs. So I've spent a lot of time just working with Kenny, and it's been years. But and then in the meantime, he's gotten really good at what he's doing in terms of engineering and producing and mastering,
Right.
and with Sabine's music as well. And anyway, so
Yeah, it's really important to, sorry to cut you off. It's really
no,
important to work with people that you like their hearts too. So just moving us along a little bit, are we going to play a little bit of No Ordinary Man, little song?
That was what I was I was
there?
leading up to that so we can hear what that's about. So let's do that right now. Here it comes. Believe me, I'm no ordinary man. Don't leave me, I'm doing the best I can. I am.
That's just
what do you
delicious. Those
say?
are just delicious ingredients. It's wonderful. So it really leaves us wanting to listen more. So those harmonies sound amazing. Sabina, I know that you did some of those harmonies. Let's talk to you a little bit, Sabina. Why don't you? I've got a little blip of information about Sabina. She was born in Germany, migrated to Australia at age 6, migrated to the U.S. in 2008, and she has a bachelor's. She has a bachelor of design and has been a graphic designer for more than 25 years. She manages b3pmusic.com and is a singer-songwriter and performs. Okay, I don't remember how to say Artemisia.
Artemisia Black.
I finally got it. I finally got the way to say it. Say it again.
Artemisia Black.
Artemisia. It's like how Europeans say vitamins. Artemisia Black with her husband Kenny, and so Sabina, tell us more about yourself and how you got involved in this project.
In the project, basically because I live in the main house, and whenever Kenny needs backing vocals, I'm his gal, so I'm pretty much on call. And sometimes you'll say, you got to warm up today because we're using you, and usually not. So sometimes I try to remember to warm up. But yeah, I'm the on-call girl. I'm the call girl.
Everybody needs one of those. Everybody
right.
needs one of those. I feel like Aaron is that for me sometimes. He's the on-call bass player.
Yeah. There you go. But also, I felt very honored that Richard even wanted me to be on the album. Like, I think Kenny actually, we did it and then we sent it to Richard. I'm like, fingers crossed he likes it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I there's no question. I'm just gonna move us along a little bit and just say what Richard said to me. And Richard heard your album, your latest release, and what was that? What was the album called? Gravity? Was that the last one? Yes. He heard that, fell in love with your music, and I think that was what solidified you, Richard, in saying, "That's it. I'm gonna work with them. I'm gonna have Sabina sing with me." And so moving along, Marianne, did you want to say something about the next song that we're going to be able to hear?
Yes, definitely. And I just want to remind people that as we go through this, like we just probably just put up a link also for access to your music, Sabiné and Kenny's. And
Yeah, keep checking the chats, you guys.
Keep checking.
Yeah.
And don't forget about Richard's Bandcamp too, to access the music.
Yes.
But with that, I particularly wanted to talk about the song Alenia. Are we going to give a little bit of a hint of it first, and then I'll just say a few things? Or no?
Well, I think for time we should just play it, and then, or if you want to talk about it
I'll
first.
just say that this is the song that I will recognize anywhere. I heard it when we lived together. I heard it in the car. I heard it at Blue Rock Shoot. I love the song. I cry at a lot of the songs.
Get tissues ready. Yeah,
Yes,
seriously.
yes. So anyway, with that, that's my intro to that song.
Yeah, let's just get right into it.
So take it slow and let your fears all go away. Hey, Alenia, let us be. 'Cause nothing stays the same in everything we see. Hey, Alenia, set us free, oh so free. 'Cause nothing's wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with me.
Yes, just another moment of wanting to hear more and more. So that was really beautiful. So I'm going to leave it up to you, just for time's sake, just to stay on schedule. Should we just go into another song, or do you want to talk about challenges?
I think the thing that'll get us into that song, next song, is by you two just saying what was the most challenging song, and then share the songs as you want to.
Let me talk a little bit about Sabiné. So when did the album come out? Gravity, was it about a year and a half ago? Is that right? Roughly
Longer than that, I think.
longer than that. Okay.
Maybe 2019, maybe. I can't even remember.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, when I discovered the album, maybe it wasn't when it first released, but when I first listened to it, I fell in love with it, and it became this album that I would play in my car, and I was in my car a lot, and I'd listen to it a lot, and I loved every single track on it. And I think, Sabiné, did you write all those, or did you guys co-write some, or they were all?
Usually I will write Artemisia Black songs, and then Kenny does all the instrumentation and
Got it.
everything else. I just write them. It's like my little bit of...
Yeah.
Of course, there's her magic voices.
She just writes them.
So there's that too.
I love that you said her magic voice, because I mean, I just remembered like Sarah McLachlan's Surfacing album being like such a huge, like kind of an album I needed at a particular time, a difficult time, and it was just comforting. Like there's a lot of comfort in your voice. Your voice blends so well. As soon as I heard the very first vocals come from Kenny and Sabiné with the backing vocals with my voice, it was like instant. I knew this is perfect. And I couldn't have been happier. So let me play the most difficult song. We talked about it. I really worked Sabiné on this album. She got it right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
It was great though. Like, it was fun.
Right. Well, let's play. This is a sample of one of our favorites. This is called Just Another Game.
Another new disease streaming overseas takes you down before you know. Find another town, pull your hammer down. Nothing left way down below. You tell me it's alright. It's just something we must do. I tell you, in my mind, you don't even have a clue. You say I'm free, I have to disagree. All these broken dreams are blinding us.
Yeah.
Again. amazing. It's always, with each of these clips, I just kind of disappear into it, and then when it fades away, I have to come back and be like, oh yeah, that's right. We're doing this. So this music is just fantastic, and it really feels like I'm listening to a band. Like I'm listening to the high quality band that is at a live concert that I paid a ticket to see. But as we all have learned, this album got recorded from Hawaii to Nashville, Tennessee. So you guys want to share a little bit about that, and just for time, like just share a little bit about how it went, and then we'll go through some share with us of how that happened.
You want me to say, or do you want to say, Richard?
Go ahead, Kenny.
Yeah, well, how it went is Richard sent me a folder full of demos. There was more than an album's worth, and he asked me what I thought my favorites were, et cetera. But mostly how it worked between Hawaii and Nashville is how I work with most artists, because most of the artists I work with are out of state. They're not here in Tennessee. And so he sent me the demos, and then I explained earlier that I put them in my Pro Tools and work on them. And, the digital age is great because I can just send him the tracks. He can track his stuff, send me his tracks. I put them in, and we just keep sending them back and forth, over Dropbox, basically. And pretty soon they're done, and there you go. And we never had to be in the same room. Now, Richard had to he had to learn some stuff about recording. So I'll let him tell you about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see some of those pictures.
Well, we'll share that here in a moment. But let's just say that the very first step was that I had to play most of the songs, not all of them, to either a click track, which I didn't ever on any of them, but I would put a drum track together, usually cajon and some shakers, just to keep to the beat. So the beats per minute. And so I'd settle on a tempo that felt right. And then I would play and sing the song, and Kenny's like, just get me. It doesn't have to be clean, good, whatever. And I was like so excited to do this album. I didn't warm up my voice. I'm like just sending Kenny recordings, thinking no one will ever hear them. So this is the process. We're gonna start with this is a song that I wrote I think in 2006, and it's called Through the Roof, and it really kind of demonstrates the process well. So here's the first part of it, me doing the scratch recording for Kenny.
When you sat beside me, my heart skipped right through the roof.
So Kenny would get that. What did you do with it, Kenny, from there?
I just stuck it in Pro Tools and started. I would build the drum part first because, basically my feeling on songs is that the vocals are the most important thing and the drums are the other most important thing. So I want to make sure that groove is rocking. So I would have built the drums first and then maybe added an electric guitar or a bass next.
So let's play what he did first pass.
Demo in the background.
Nice. Yeah. Yes. Oh, there it is. That's so cool.
So while we were going through this process on all the songs, I was busy building sound panels to absorb the sound, and I ordered a microphone, and I ordered Logic, and was basically getting myself equipped so I could do the actual vocal recordings and the acoustic guitar recordings. And a friend of mine asked me to house sit and dog sit for 10 days, and I thought it was the perfect opportunity to do that. So this is me working on that.
When you sat beside me, my heart skipped right through the roof.
Yep.
And then the guitar.
Pause it.
So I did that for, most of the songs during that time. I had a couple songs I had to go back to, but then I sent them to Kenny, and then Kenny plugged them into your Pro Tools.
Yeah.
And then you added your harmony, right?
Probably. I don't remember anymore.
Okay, well, let's play the next part.
When you sat beside me, my heart skipped right through the roof.
And meanwhile, Sabina's warming her voice up. And then he plugs that in, and he's working on some lead guitar, and some keyboards. This is the next part.
When you sat beside me, my heart skipped right through the roof.
So
Those pictures are amazing. Thank you.
I heard that
Crying.
Kenny's lead guitar part, I thought it was great, and I thought it was really well played and written and all that, but it was, I don't know, what did I tell you, Kenny? What was my words to you about
It was
that?
something you're like, but I want it to kind of go, up through the roof. And I'm like, 40. Okay, sure. What does that mean?
It was there was a few spots. We got along great through the whole process. It was a dream process, really, but this was a challenge.
So,
I kind of threw a challenge at him.
Before you play this, are you about to play us how the guitar changed?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to share with all the listeners, some of us are musicians and we're used to these emotional things that we want to create with our music. And some of you are listening and you're just curious about this. So I want to invite you all to just think of how you feel. Like, how have you felt so far listening to these little clips? And now, how does this next clip make you feel? And that's how you can maybe kind of feel the difference.
Yeah, notice the end of the guitar solo.
The first part was probably the same. Through the roof, baby.
Yeah.
Kenny, that was brilliant.
So beautiful.
I loved
Yes.
it. As soon as I heard it, he nailed it. It was awesome. Maybe it took a little of back porch libation to get him there, but he did it.
That's right.
So then I was going to get through the rest of this real quick, if that's
Right.
okay.
I just want to remind everybody
Yes.
it's okay to just chat away. Sabina is, reading all of them, and if she'll pick some to share later if we have time, and just feel free to just tell us, chat away if you want to, and ask questions if you want. So what happened after that? What was the last step?
I didn't like the way I kept saying "when" and closed the "when" too quickly. So I did a new vocal track, and I did that at home.
When you sat beside me,
That's my board.
my heart skipped right through the roof.
Closet.
And then I sent that to Kenny, and then he put it all together.
When you sat beside me, my heart skipped right through the roof.
Love it. And that's how we did it.
We both had enough pushing.
Yes. The technology, as monstrous as it is for in one ying, it is also the greatest way to bridge the gap when we are so far away from people. That was just amazing.
Yep. It was fun. It was really fun.
I just want to add that it's still so intriguing, amazing, heartwarming. It makes me cry thinking about it. Going back to Blue Rock days, and I know some of my friends on the call, all of your friends, people there, Blue Rock was this place in this Silicon Valley where we all went to listen to these women and men try out music, do their music, find out how they sang together. But if we could go through the list of what everybody has done since then, especially you four, but also everybody else, that was an amazing place that gave birth to so much. And I love music so much, and most people do. What would this world be without it, especially during COVID time? Excuse me for saying that word. I just thank you guys, and I thank Blue Rock and everything that came out of there. I just had to add that.
I'm even realizing that after I mean, tonight I've known Richard for, eons now, and Kenny, just shortly after I met Richard, I've known him this long. I am only realizing tonight on this call that all of us had been through a journey, and we all landed at Blue Rock Shoot having these decisions made in our hearts of what we were going to do with our musical lives. We all had made this heartfelt, all right, I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go this way. And we all landed at Blue Rock Shoot. And again, for those of you, we always say Blue Rock Shoot. Blue Rock Shoot was this coffee shop, cafe. It was like this wooden log cabin in the middle of a little downtown, kind of hip, richy area. And it had a back porch that people would just kind of smoke and talk all night. They would.
You know what? I'm gonna stop you, Alesandra.
Yeah,
I'm gonna point people, go to the Thriving Artist YouTube channel, and there's a spoken word piece called "Ode to the Dear Old Blue," and it'll tell you exactly what the Blue Rock Shoot was like. So I encourage you. I had to write something. It's no longer with us. It went away, and it was a sad day. So anyway.
Yeah. But I just want to add one last little thing. So it had this little back room that musicians loved because of the ceiling of how it was. And so anybody who was a musician would walk into this back room and just love playing there. And through Richard's vision and his amazing way of his high quality construction ability, he took over. He grabbed the keys. He invited a bunch of people to volunteer their time. And over a Thanksgiving weekend one year, we turned that place into a little live music cafe with a stage, a sound system. He left instructions for anybody to be able to plug in things. It was a magical, who does that? Now that I'm like an adult and I've been around the world a little bit, what cafe do you have where people can walk in and just undo a drawer and plug it all in with these directions and have little bistro tables? It was just a very, very special place. So thank you. I just want to say thank you to Richard and Kenny and anybody else who was involved in Blue Rock Shoot to allow that magical time to happen.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll say that time was great for me too. I mean, my life changed so much in that period. And especially because you all remember I met Sabiné online at that time during that time of life too, and flew all the way to Australia for our first date. And well, here we are now running this business. That was 2006. Yeah, 2006.
Yes, and we all heard about that. I remember him sharing MySpace. We know when MySpace. I remember like he was sharing her picture with everybody. Like, this is her. This is her. This is her. And there was only one picture because she was shy. We just had this one black and white shadow turned sideways. Like, okay, she's cute. She's cute from the side. Good luck. So Sabiné, tell us more about you right now. Like,
well, I was very shy, and I guess I still am, but so shy. And then hearing about Kenny and his millions of friends and family, everyone knew me. By the time I got here, I had to try and remember everyone and new names and faces and people, and so that was interesting. Went straight to now everyone knows you. So you had to be on
Yeah.
good behavior.
Yeah. So you're a graphic artist by your degree,
Yeah.
and then you were like a closet songwriter, and Kenny brought that out of you from what you told us
Yes.
the other day. And then
Mhm.
tell us about how you got involved and how you did some of the graphic design, right? All the album artwork is from your
Yeah.
conceptual ideas.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That was
tell us
so
about how you got
fun.
involved.
It's one of the things I think I enjoy the most is concept design. And Rich and I just spent a bit of time just talking about things, and he was telling me about what was important to him and what the background of all the songs and the whole history of the going to Europe and experiencing all of that. And we had some photographs to work with. So one of the most important moments we thought was in the stairwell when he first, I think that was the first and the end of the trip kind of ended at the same place. So that seemed a really important place. And I felt like it was kind of just a stairwell, so it wasn't very exciting. So then, and traveling through Europe and somehow it reminded me of graffiti and just like going, like being there, and graffiti is about, leaving your mark. So the background had a lot to do with like, and it was fun colors and that time. And then the back cover was about his journey and the paving, the stones, the pathway and
Oh, the
his journey. It was
stones.
all very, there's meaning in everything I do. And for this,
Yeah.
it was great to talk to Richard, and I learned so much about him and enjoyed our chats about what this album was all about.
I love that inside cover. I love the stones.
And so, yeah, Richard decided that he wanted to do vinyl for, rather than a CD. And for me, it felt like a little bit of homage to, 20 years ago, or, 18 years ago when the songs started. And so it was a little bit of homage to history, to the past. And vinyl is cool, and you get a bigger space to do graphics, which is also cool.
Yeah, and our older
Mhm.
actually read the artwork. That's good too.
That's
Yeah.
true, yes.
Yeah. Like that. I
So
mean, that
y-
was a real special time that some of us can remember, and only people who are holding on to record players will experience this. But one of anybody who loves music, like one of your favorite memories is getting the album, putting it
Mhm.
on, and sitting on the floor and opening it up and
Right.
looking at what they want to tell you
Mhm.
visually. That was a delicious, that's a delicious part of discovering music. And it's a little element that's lost when you
Mhm.
just, click on a social site and just listen. I love opening it up and looking at the CD jackets and the album jackets. So that was really cool. So thank you again, Richard, for pushing through and getting us that vinyl.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and it was a challenge for Kenny, I think. But it felt right. It was something we talked about. I didn't really make many decisions without collaborating with both of these guys. When it came to the album, or at first I was going to do 12 songs. I had prepared or had targeted 12 tunes, but then I think it was around May or June we started entertaining the idea of vinyl, and then I visited a vinyl plant in Asheville, North Carolina. And once I did that, I'm like, oh, and then I learned there's more vinyl records that sold last year than CDs. CDs are like, it's funny to me, like technology has taken us further and further and further, and we're in the digital age. And then it's like all of a sudden we go so far, but then wait, but back here was really nice. It was a real
Yeah.
sweet spot, and
Yeah.
I think vinyl records are here to stay. And I think where people are going to be rediscovering that tactile experience of listening to music in a physical format, the artwork that goes along with it. It really, when you say the word album, I mean, you think of a photo album. I mean, that's what this is a time period of my life. And it's, Sabiné did an amazing job. I'm getting kind of, teared up here. No, seriously, because she she's one of the best listeners you could ever communicate with. She really got where my songs were coming from, what the songs mean to me today, what I was struggling with, and why I was doing this, and really I wasn't doing this to make some success, as in the past plan A or plan B was to like earn my living or livelihood and make it big in music or whatever. This was about really honestly my sons, my children, because I didn't want them to inherit a bunch of unfinished work that I just left in a garage, collecting dust. I wanted to finish it and put it together in some presentable format, so that it wasn't left on their lap to try to figure out what to do with this stuff. So that's what was me cleaning out and preparing the way for, way down the road, but so they don't have to deal with that. And so that was what drove me. Was what I'm going to leave behind for them, and it's not going to be a mess. So
it's beautiful, and I know in a little while we're going to have the release of Northern Girl and the video that speaks to what you wrote, Richard. But I had one other thing I wanted to say, and I just went blank. Sabiné, would you talk a little bit more too about how you collaborated with your sister and who she is? Because it's just such an artistic,
we're about to see
process.
Yeah, we're about to see her work.
Yeah. My sister still lives in Australia. She's in Melbourne with my niece and her husband. And she'd been doing lots of different other work before taking on videography, like video editing and videos. And she just one day decided that I needed a video for one of my songs. And so she just went ahead and did it. And then she sent it to me. She goes, I don't know, what do you think? I just did this, and it's like, and it was so amazing to me that she figured out how to do it just on her own. And so ever since then, we've, whenever we have video jobs, I give them to her because she's so great at it. It's just, it seemed to have come very naturally to her, and she's very dedicated, and I'm very proud of her for learning a new skill later in life, and it's awesome.
You two are creative in the collaboration.
They both really are. I just wanted to interject. So, I still have yet to talk to Jessica. She's just this.
she's even shyer than me. So
I'm wondering. It's funny because we were trying to get her on this program, and it was like, okay, she didn't want to do that. Said, well, just use it. How about a picture? She did send one, but it looked identical to Sabiné. I'm wondering if there really is a Jessica. I'm just
you should just use one of your photos, and no one will know. Hilarious.
Yeah, but as far as the process, so really, Sabiné directed as an artistic director what the look and feel was, and just kind of interpreted everything that I had shared with her. And her sister came back, and the very first time she shared a sample, I saw it and I literally cried. It just was, I couldn't believe how beautiful and how wonderfully she had interpreted this music. And, this is one of the song Kenny and Sabiné and I, all three decided this is the one we want to represent the album, because it's kind of like right in the middle. It's at that sweet spot of the album. It really nicely represents the album, and the artwork, all of it came together. And we're waiting for the stroke of the hour, and that's going to be the launch. The first time it's going to be premiered on YouTube, and you guys are welcome to share it.
Since we have a couple minutes, Sabiné, is there anything on the chats that anybody's asking that they want to know from anybody, from any of us, or anything on the chats?
Everyone just seems to be enjoying everything. Everyone's saying hi, but you can probably read. Does anyone have any questions? You can put it.
Yeah, so really at the stroke of 9. So Richard, why don't you go through how we're gonna do this? Are we gonna be able to see the video? Are we all staying online to do this, or do we all log off and go to YouTube? What are we doing?
So here's the plan. So everyone is going to basically, you can just click on the link or go to YouTube on your own, find the Thriving Artist channel. But if you just click on the link, it's just been posted. You will see the video. Actually, that's the video to the channel, and then you can subscribe to the channel. But you can click on Northern Girl. It'll say world premiere happening at such and such a time. And I think there's a countdown about a minute or so before, or 30 seconds. I don't know what they do. I haven't done this before, but so this is the premiere. So that's how we're going to end this. After the video's over, come back on. We're going to turn cameras and mics on, and it's just an informal little party gathering to celebrate the launch of the album.
I see Sean asked the question. He asked, "Who's the guy on the album cover?"
You know, I've gotten harassed from like one of my older friends, Ron, that I grew up with. He's like, "Rich, why did you use a picture where you're not smiling? I like your smile, But Kenny and I were both, and Sabiné initially picked a picture where I was smiling, and both Kenny and I were like, no way, not for this album.
A little leaning on the cray side, not kind of. It was stairwell. And this album is serious. Like there's serious songs. It's the whole journey thing. So I wanted him to look a little more like neutral.
Mm-hmm. So Sabiné, did you pick the picture for the front?
I think I discussed it with Richard. I think we talked it through together and we picked, but I think I might have said, hey, maybe this could be good. It's good.
She picked it.
What year was that picture taken?
That was in September of 2003. It was the end of my trip to Europe. That was I was coming back from 2 weeks in Croatia, where I wrote a bunch of music, and then I was on my way home. And this is right at the end, and it was very momentous when I was first there at the beginning of the trip and going full circle. And that stairwell I found this great place to rehearse. The acoustics were amazing. And and people would kind of wander in sometimes and out, and then around the corner was the theater, and there was that grand piano, the baby grand, that I could play, and it was just a perfect place that I happened to stumble upon. I wanted to mention, what was I going to mention? Oh, also thank you to Teresa Gallardi, thank you to Emily Kreitzer, because they both did a big favor on one of the songs called It's Only Fun. They did a phone recording. Teresa's recovering from COVID right now. And I wanted to thank Brandon Walker. Brandon Walker's music is awesome. We're going to be doing more work with him. He played piano on Our Song Is Done, the last track on the album. And so thank you, Brandon. Brandon is amazing. If you don't have his EP, remind me the name of it. If you go to his website, I think she's going to post that.
I already put the links up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And again, all these people out of Blue Rock. And
out of the Blue Rock.
getting your champagne out and your glasses, or if you don't, your apple cider, because we're going to go into this.
Yeah, about 30 seconds, guys. How about we all just cheers? Cheers to a long-awaited project.
And everybody come back after, because we're going to open it up for questions. You can all get involved. It'll be.
So just keep this open, yeah?
Keep it open, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's perfect. Keep it open.
Okay.
No, enjoy the video. Go enjoy the video and come back.
And we're excited.
All righty.
We're going to break the internet.
I know, huh? You could be a DJ. Oh, now I'll say it. You could be a DJ.
Me?
You have a DJ voice.
Oh.